Hey, millennial parents, you don't have to spank your child to discipline them. It's true. It's true. I'm of the minority, so you're not going to hear this from mainstream, okay? 20% only of parents in America don't spank their children, and I'm one of that 20%. If there were 5 people in this room right now, I'd be the one of the 5 that doesn't spank his children. Now, I don't judge those invisible 4 other parents for spanking their child. That's not my concern. I have no interest in judging other people for how they live their lives and how they believe. But what I am interested in is helping open-minded people who want to think outside that box. As far as, well, I do want to make sure my child is well behaved, but I don't want to hit them. I don't want to cause physical force on them. There's got to be another way, right? Well, I was the daddy blogger for parents.com for like 3 years, and they had a blog post that talked about ways to discipline your child without spanking them. Number 1, ignore attention-seeking behavior. Number 2, pay attention to good behavior. Number 3, redirect your child. Number 4, teach consequences that make sense. And number 5, use timeouts for only serious offenses. Now, I still agree with all those things, but I really feel that we're asking the wrong question if we're asking the question, how do I discipline my child without spanking them? What do I do instead? That's the wrong question, okay? We're going to use some emotional intelligence today, okay? Because that's what I'm good at. If you ask me to fix your car, I can't help you. My intelligence is emotional, okay? And I'm going to share with you how this whole thing works. How do you discipline your child without spanking them? Well, first of all, you stop asking that question because it's irrelevant. That's the wrong question to ask. The real thing we should be looking at is, what are the reason my child misbehaves in the first place? Now, I'm going to introduce and present to you 5. Now, this same hand that traditionally would be used to spank the child, we're going to use this same hand, not to Star Trek, no. We're going to look at 5 reasons your child misbehaves, and I'm saying that in air quotes for a reason. Let's look at these. Your child is tired. Your child is hungry. Your child is bored. Your child is lonely. Your child is sick. It's that simple. It is that simple. That's a fact. Now imagine this. Imagine a child who does not have the emotional intelligence that you do as an adult, who instead of, they're acting out because they're tired, hungry, bored, lonely, or sick, and they're not typically going to say to you, hey mom, hey dad, the reason I'm acting this way is because I need a nap, because I need a snack, because I'm bored, I need something to do, because I need somebody to talk to me, because I need medical care. They're not going to say that. Most of the time, they're not going to say that. They don't have the emotional intelligence to communicate that to you. Instead, they simply act out. They simply misbehave, okay? So instead of trying to fix this problem, the smartest and easiest thing to do is to prevent the problem. So how do we prevent these problems, or how do we deal with it? Well, just always go in your mind thinking, okay, the next time my child misbehaves, are they tired, hungry, bored, lonely, or sick? Imagine that most parents in America, when their child misbehaves for one of these things, okay, here's what I want to submit to you today. What I do. When my child misbehaves, if he's tired, I facilitate him taking a nap. If he's hungry, I get him something from the kitchen to eat. If he's bored, I provide him with an activity, something constructive to do with that energy. If he's lonely, because my wife and I have been talking the whole time since I've been home and I've only hugged him and not talked to him, he's lonely. He needs some interaction from me. He needs that positive attention. Or if all else fails, he's sick. He's got a temperature. Oh, I better check his temperature. Oh, I better get him to the doctor because he's sick. It's always one of those 5 things. It's that simple. Okay? So if you're proactively aware of that and ready to take care of those things, imagine you as the parent being emotionally intelligent, you are caring for your child's needs. Compare that to the invisible parents behind me. That's what they're doing to their child. They're hitting their child because their child is tired, hungry, bored, lonely, or sick, and they're not getting the rest, food, entertainment, involvement from their parent or their medical care that they need. Okay? Now, closing story, and then I'm out of here. You would think, well, Nick, I was spanked when I was growing up, and I'm not a murderer. I didn't end up in prison. Okay, well, that logic doesn't work, because let's look at the people who do end up in prison. I've read the research, and here's what it shows. The more violent criminals who end up in prison, maybe the murderers, as we said, they are the ones who were spanked the most violently, and overall just spanked more in general as a group, comparatively speaking, to mainstream society. That's not to say that spanking your child sends them to prison and makes them a murderer, but the logic that I turned out okay, therefore I should do this the same, therefore I should repeat the same cliche that it's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. No, you don't have to do that. No, everyone else is doing it. And when you hear that, you're triggered to think, whoa, but that's the normal thing to do. Everybody else is spanking their child. I don't want to be weird like Nick Shell and be part of that 20% that doesn't spank his child, because what if my child doesn't end up, behaved? Well, here's what I can tell you. My son is 6.5 years old. He's about to finish kindergarten. He was the first student in his class this year, chosen by his teacher for the most well-behaved and the most involved. So it's not just about being a soldier that just does, a robot that does whatever the teacher says. No, he's involved too. So there's that balance. It's a healthy balance. And this is what I've done. I've never spanked my son. I've used this method. I'm going to share it with you one more time. And then you get to make a decision if you want to listen to the weird guy, the minority that most people can't relate to, or do you want to be like everybody else that hits your child because they're tired, hungry, bored, lonely, or sick. I've never experienced an exception to this. My son doesn't misbehave otherwise. It's always one of these things. I'm the parent. I take care of him. I give him rest. I give him food. Give him entertainment. Give him conversation. Or I give him medical care. That's how you prevent those problems. It's not about discipline. It's about providing for their needs in the first place.